What up, guys? We're back. We're going to be doing another breakdown predictions video. This week it's for UFC Fight Night Reyes versus Prochazka. It's a really good main event. A lot of interesting fights mixed in between the whole card. Just right before we get started, I just want to say I appreciate all the support, everything like that. I had a goal for 200 likes on the last video, and we crushed that. We went way over that. So gonna have the goal at 250 likes for this one. So let's really try to smash that like button, get to 250 likes, and put in the comments that you like the video for me, so I know. And then besides that, just I have the Patreon going on, where I am gonna have some bets on the PFL tomorrow. Most likely gonna have a couple bets on LFA as well. Gonna be putting out the full breakdown and predictions video with the bets included for PFL. If you want to go check that out, that's going to be at my Patreon, which the link will be in the bio. So definitely appreciate it whenever anyone helps out there. And so I really appreciate that if you want to check that out. And we're just going to get into this card though right here with Reyes versus Prochazka. First fight of the night, it's going to be Luke Sanders against Felipe Colares. And both these guys, in my opinion, are not very trustworthy guys. We got Luke Sanders, who he made his return to the sport after a little over a year off, and he was looking okay against Nate Maness, and I actually picked Nate Maness in that fight, so I was a little bit worried because I did feel like Sanders was looking decent in that first round, but ultimately he got caught, being kind of wild like usual, got submitted. Nate Maness got the job done, and Sanders just hasn't been able to get any consistency going in the UFC. He's been in the organization since 2016, and he's just been kind of win one, lose one type of thing. And he's an aggressive southpaw, though. He is going to have a speed advantage in this fight. And, he's light on his feet. He will bounce in and out of range fairly well. And he's always faking, feigning. He is a bit wild, though. He enters range just with big overhands, real wide looping shots. He will throw some lead hooks followed by straight punch combos. And, those are probably his best attacks when he can be a little bit sharper. But he'll trade in the pocket. He's kind of a brawler. In this fight, he's going to have the speed advantage, so that may be a little bit of not a smarter game plan, but he may be more effective with it. He is a little bit more powerful, in my opinion, as well. Sanders, he doesn't really kick a lot. He does have a pretty good right kick to the body, to the head, and his forward pressure is good. His striking defense, obviously is not the best, like I've been saying. He did get caught, knocked out by Andreas. He, also was finished by Nate Maness after getting dropped pretty badly. And he's not really a wrestler. He only has one takedown in his whole UFC career. And it's kind of, in this fight, kind of a moot point. I don't think he's going to be trying to wrestle in this one. He's going to be trying to use his grappling in reverse, keep it on the feet. His takedown defense is, pretty good. But he has had issues when guys could take him down. He's, gotten caught in leg locks and things like that. And Felipe Colares is a black belt on the ground. Felipe Colares, he's returning after over a year off. He's had a couple fights scheduled, but got canceled, so he hasn't fought since January of last year. And it's kind of good that he took that time off, maybe, because he had a fun matchup with Montel Jackson, but he took a lot of damage in that fight. And he's just not a very good striker. He has a wide stance and definitely is aggressive. He brings that forward pressure. He throws some wild punches. He has some okay straight punches, but more just brawling type of punches. He will throw some nice body kicks, head kicks, and he is aggressive, but he walks onto big shots. He leaves his chin right on center line. Drops his hands, and he was eating a lot of clean shots right to the chin against Montel Jackson, and those are the ones that I think could really damage you long term. So, I'm kind of curious to see how durable he is going to be in this fight. But he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's going to be looking to get the fight to the ground, back guys to the cage, close the distance. He has good control in the clinch and pretty good body locks. He has a good double leg, and I've seen him hit some big slam takedowns, so he's pretty physical. But, sometimes he can go for ill-advised throws in the clinch. He can pull guys on top of him, but he looks like he's in very good shape. He's very strong. This fight's going to be up at 45s, but both these guys are 35ers, so I don't think that, a strength factor is necessarily going to be any different in this one. I still feel like he's going to maybe be a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger guy. And when he gets on top, he is excellent. He has good passing ability. He was able to dominate Domingo Pilarte, landed some big ground and pound, and good scrambler. He pushes the pace. He has a good guillotine. Montel Jackson was able to dominate him in the clinch, though. Hit a lot of takedowns. Make Kolaris work back up to his feet, but he just couldn't get free of Jackson. Kolaris also has gotten his back taken in a couple fights against Geraldo de Freitas, Domingo Pilarte. So if you make him wrestle defensively and grapple defensively, he does have some deficiencies sometimes. But with a guy like Luke Sanders, I don't think that he has the prowess of those guys on the ground. So don't think he should try to grapple really much at all. Man, I mean, I truly kind of despise this fight, if we're being honest. If you guys remember, like I said, I was one of the few people on Nathan Maness in his fight with Luke Sanders. Just never really been a Luke Sanders guy, and I just think he makes too many mistakes. Really bad fight IQ, bad submission defense, and he does have solid power. He's going to be the better striker, the better wrestler most likely, and that should lead to him being able to have an easy fight, pick Kolaris apart, pick his shots. Kolaris comes forward, he's very hittable. But, Kolaris has a good chin. He comes forward, he throws hard body kicks, and he's going to be trying to create scrambles, create grappling opportunities. So, I mean, if he could just jump on a neck, I don't know if Sanders can have the composure Montel Jackson did to survive. Kolaris can also attack the legs, maybe roll for Imanari locks even, or Imanari rolls. But I really feel like, leg locks could be a path to victory for him here in this fight. We've seen Sanders submitted with leg locks twice in the past. I mean, man, I feel like both guys can win. I don't think this is really a UFC level fight. Kolaris to me is just kind of a punching bag though, so Sanders should be able to keep it on the feet, end up on top if they do grapple, and maybe could be safe there. So I'm gonna go with Luke Sanders begrudgingly, but yeah, I mean, this is not a fight that I'm super confident in or super looking forward to watching either. In this next fight, we got a middleweight fight, another fairly low-level fight in my opinion, with KB Bular taking on Andreas Michailidis. With Andreas, he had a 4-fight winning streak before he joined the UFC, but unfortunately, got snapped against Modestas Bukauskas, and that was kind of in a bizarre way where the first round was actually pretty close, and then Michailidis level changed late in the round, maybe kind of tried to steal the round with a takedown, and he got hit with some nice Travis Brown elbows, and a couple of them looked like they might have been to the back of the head, but the ref deemed them all legal. Michailidis, kind of looked a little bit out of it after the round ended, so the ref was kind of telling him, you got to get up, and I think he was more trying to goad the ref into giving him a DQ or take a point by saying the shots were to the back of the head. I don't know if he was truly that hurt, but he, had an unfortunate thing where he tried to lean back against the cage and didn't realize he was leaning back against the cage door, which was open, and kind of fell back, and the ref called the fight. So, Andreas, unfortunately got the loss there. I mean, he's a strong grappler. His striking style is a little bit wild. He keeps his hands out. He kind of tries to parry punches, counter, and he has a wide stance. He's pretty athletic, moving in and out of range fairly well, and he throws a lot of kicks. Leaky guard, though, and he will pull back with his chin in the air, so his boxing is not very good, but he has good kicks, good round kicks to all parts of the body. He'll throw good low kicks. His spinning kicks to the body and the head are very fast and powerful, and he's dangerous with the spins because he'll throw them early and often, and he doesn't really need to set them up or get the timing on him. He just throws them right away, and most fighters need to get their range before they let those strikes go, but Michailidis will throw some spinning back fist as well. He really just wings big punches. He does have a decent left hook, straight right hand, but he has willingness to brawl. He very leaky guard, like I said, and he's been finished by strikes in all 4 of his losses. He is an elite submission grappler, though. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's won a lot of jiu-jitsu competitions. He isn't a great wrestler, but he has good timing on his level changes and good body locks, and he's like a guy where early on maybe his takedowns are going to work a little bit better because he muscles them. But, as fights goes on, he really slows down. And he's kind of like a decent but not great wrestler. On top, he does have really good pressure passing. He has really good punches, short elbows. Isn't a big submission guy. He only has 4 submission wins. He's more of a grinder, keeps the position. But he does have high-level jiu-jitsu, like I said. You can go watch him online. have matches with the likes of Keenan Cornelius, people like that, and, last a fairly long time. And Michailidis, he has questionable cardio, though. He slows down significantly after, the first 7.5 minutes of the fight. In his fight with Vladimir Maniv, he got exhausted before getting finished on the ground, and he finished almost all of his fights in round 1. When he goes past that, he just doesn't pace himself very well. He hasn't won a fight that's gone past the first round since 2016, and he's only 3-3 in fights that have gone out of round 1 overall. So that's definitely going to be probably a game plan for KB to try to extend Michailidis. For KB Bular, he was unsuccessful in his UFC debut as well. Bular's loss was much more black and white. He was just outmatched. He got knocked out pretty quickly by Tom Breeze. And needs to kind of put his best foot forward here in this fight. Prove he belongs in the UFC because that last showing just wasn't very good. He is a big guy for middleweight. He's 6'4". He has a 78-inch reach. So he's going to have a 4-inch height advantage, 3-inch reach advantage in this fight. And he kind of likes to stay loose on the feet. Work the jabs, work the straight punches, kind of pop his shots out there, touch. He has a decent lead hook. He'll throw some good round kicks, front kicks, and he has a good low kick to high kick, combination that he likes to throw. He'll throw question mark kicks. So his kicks are probably the best part of his game. He also will throw some nice knees, spinning attacks. Besides the jabs and the straights, he's kind of low volume with the hands. And he's flat-footed, a little bit hittable, hands low type of style. And I just don't know if he's athletic enough for that because he doesn't really have a good chin. He's it seems like when he switches stances to southpaw, he doesn't really have as good a defense. And, also, I just feel like he's very hittable on the feet. In his last fight, he kind of got blitzed, taken out really quickly. As a grappler, it seems like he's a pretty good grappler, good in the clinch, good tie plum with the knees and the elbows. And good throws, good body locks. Does a good job countering takedowns with the whizzer, getting on top. And, he has good front chokes as well, so he'll snap you down, look for the guillotines, Darce chokes. He even has a north-south choke on his record. If you could take him down, he has an okay guard. It's hard to pass. But, I have seen him taken down and controlled in other fights. He doesn't really have a super dangerous submission game on bottom. He does have the much superior cardio here, though. And, that's what he's going to try to need to kind of push. Stay safe, try to avoid all that spinning attack, wild, crazy striking from Michailidis. Try to, touch him as he comes in, keep it long. Maybe try to jam some nice knees into his body, wear on that gas tank, which is already a little bit questionable. And just stay tight defensively. Try to keep the fight on the feet. I don't necessarily think he's going to want to grapple with a guy like Michailidis. Don't think he's going to be able to take him down necessarily. So for KB, I just think the whole game plan is going to be trying to get out of that first round and then, stay long with the striking, attack the body, try to get Andreas to get real sloppy, and then just be accurate with the straight shots, stick him in there and try to hurt Andreas, take him out. For Andreas, he's going to come out real fast early. He's going to be throwing those nice low leg kicks. He's going to be trying to, land those spinning attacks, land those big punches over the top. And I feel like if he can't do that early, he's going to maybe go to his grappling and try to slow down the pace of the fight by just controlling in the top position. But I just feel like Michailidis is not necessarily the highest level guy, but I think he's going to maybe be able to go in there against KB Bular and get him out of there in that first round just with his dynamic striking game and just being a little bit faster, the superior athlete. So I'm going to go with Michailidis by first round finish. But I do think KB is live at the line, and I do think that if he can extend it past that first round, that he's going to have a chance to win. So the pick for me is going to be Michailidis via first round finish, though. In this next one, this is going to be a pretty quick breakdown for me. We got a girl in Loma Lookboonmee who, if you've been watching my channel, I've been betting on her pretty frequently. We cashed as a an underdog when she fought in her debut against Alexandra Albu. We also won a nice bet on her against Jinyu Frey as well, which I was very confident in, a 5-unit bet on that one. And, I just feel like Loma Lookboonmee is on the feet. Her Muay Thai game, her kicks up the middle, the teeps, her clinch game is just going to be a lot better than a lot of these girls. I mean, she's just a beast. She has, Muay Thai from when she was a child, and she can just use that striking, keep the range, even though she's the shorter opponent, smaller opponent in most of her fights. She's still able to keep the range and use her kicks to really offset the rhythm of her opponents, counter them, be the faster girl. I think she's going to have a significant speed advantage over Sam Hughes. Throw nice combinations, end combinations with kicks. Her hands even have, a little bit of pop, a little bit of snap to them, even though obviously I don't think she has the best boxing. She's more of a kicker. And then, if you close that gap on her, she has that nasty Muay Thai clinch, super dangerous there. She's working with the Hickman brothers over there at Tiger Muay Thai, so obviously is going to be improving her grappling, her takedown defense, her submission defense. And, I do think that that's still a little bit suspect. If she faces a good grappler, then she may have some trouble. She may get taken down and submitted, but, that is going to continue to improve. She's only 25 years old, so every single time I expect her to get better, physically and, technically as well. She looks even better, in better shape. She's one of these girls that came into the UFC. She wasn't very muscular, didn't have a lot of physicality. Now I think she's not necessarily, she's always going to be very small for the division. I mean, she's an atom weight, but, she's getting a little bit more physicality, things like that. And she's going to be facing a girl that I think it's a good matchup for her here because Sam Hughes is a big girl for the division. I mean, that's something that she's going to have the advantage with. She, is 5'5". She's going to have a 2.5-inch reach advantage, probably a good little weight advantage in the cage as well. But she's a boxer, forward pressure boxer. She likes to rip the body, use low kicks, decent jab, 1-2s, jab overhand rights. Seen her throw some Superman punches. Her grappling is okay. I mean, she'll use forward pressure to backfire to the clinch, and she does like to dirty box. She will try to punch her way into body locks. But, I mean, if she can get on top, she does have solid ground and pound. Her jiu-jitsu doesn't seem very good. Her top control doesn't seem very good because it seems like she's, very, very aggressive with her ground and pound. Could be a little bit sloppy. She does have very good cardio. I mean, she's been in 5-round fights. So, she's just a tough wrestler or tough boxer that's going to stay in your face that, has gotten a little bit of wrestling. But I don't necessarily think she's going to be able to take down, say, Loma Lookboonmee or controller effectively. I think in the clinch, Loma's going to be able to dominate that. I think at range, Loma's going to be able to dominate that. So, I mean, the line might be a little bit wide, -350, but I'm pretty confident Loma Lookboonmee is going to get it done. She's going to go in there, probably dominate on the feet. I think it could be a little bit ugly. I think she could be a significantly faster, better, sharper striker than Hughes. And I think in the clinch, she's going to do some work. Hughes may get a takedown or two, but I think Loma will be able to negate a lot of the damage on the ground, work back up to her feet, and, get the win. So I'm going to go with Lookboonmee in this one. In this next one, we got a good fight. We got Kamaka taking on TJ Brown. And Kamaka, he's going to be looking to make good on his third UFC performance. He did good in his debut, but his second fight didn't really have a good night, and he got finished by Jonathan Pearce. So, looking to bounce back here, start another win streak. He had won 6 fights in a row before that loss. Competition level, has not really been very high throughout his career, so he still has a lot to prove. Taking on a guy in TJ Brown who has his back up against the wall. I mean, he's lost back-to-back fights, so probably he's fighting for his job here, and definitely he's going to be motivated, ready to go. He's going to be the older guy, 30 years old, so he definitely needs to get the win here. And he's an athletic grappler, good size, physicality for the division, and good calf kicks. His high kick is pretty good. He has some power in his hands. Big overhand right, check left hook, but hittable. And his durability, a little bit questionable. He's been finished by strikes a few times. He's heavy on his lead leg, and we saw that, get exploited in his last fight. He's been finished by strikes 3 times, and, he really shines when he can get on top on the ground. He's good level changes, good doubles. He's good at controlling fighters, taking them down against the cage, good ground and pound, and his submission game is pretty solid. He has a good arm triangle, good rear naked choke, and good job wrist riding fighters when they work to stand up, landing big shots, good grappling cardio. His takedown defense could be a little bit better. I mean, he does allow fighters to get into his hips, and, when he's pressuring, guys can definitely, hit reactive takedowns on him. Usually he's good enough to get back up to his feet or create a scramble, get on top. And he was taken down by Dylan Lockhart, by Danny Chavez, and, they weren't really able to do a lot on the ground against him. So, he is pretty good off of his back. He has good jiu-jitsu. He was submitted by Jordan Griffin. It was kind of like a modified guillotine type of thing. And, I do see TJ coming out in this fight trying to grapple earlier, be, much more offensive, because he kind of started grappling too late in his last fight. He was a little bit compromised and couldn't really get his takedown game going. His opponent, Kai Kamaka, he's more of an all-rounder. He comes from a fighting family. He trains out of Extreme Couture. He's only 26 years old, so he should be improving. And he's jumping in on short notice in his debut and his second fight in the UFC. In this fight, he's had a long camp, so that's going to be something that I think is going to be good for him. He's going to be in shape. He's going to be sharp. And he's a good boxer. He keeps a high guard. He's pretty tight. He does a good job blocking and rolling with shots. He has a sharp jab. He has a good one, too. Real tight hooks. He's good at attacking the body with hooks. He doesn't really have the best head movement, and sometimes he does like to stay in the pocket and trade. He loves to go to war, man. Very durable. I mean, if they just, trade shots in the pocket, I do think that Kamaka is going to wear them better, even though I don't think Kamaka is necessarily a big power guy either. Kamaka does a good job working hard front kicks to the body, good round kicks, good head kicks, and he doesn't throw a lot of low kicks, but, he does do a good job of just mixing it up. He'll even get the grappling going. He does a good job shooting doubles against the cage, good wrestling. He's good on top. He doesn't really have a lot of submissions or good ground and pound, but his control is good. His takedown defense is pretty good as well, but he has been taken down. JSP took him down. He's a good scrambler, but he gives his back to stand up, and that's how he did get finished in his last fight. I do feel like he got a little bit tired because, like you said, he did take that fight on short notice. It was very high pace. Fight to me is close because TJ Brown, he's going to come ready to go, and he's going to need to try to use big punches, forward pressure, cut the cage off, look to grapple, and he does have a few rear naked choke victories. That's what he's going to be looking for to me. On the feet, I think he can be competitive, but just isn't sharp enough, and Kamaka is going to win that long-term battle on the feet. Kamaka, to me, as well, if he comes in with a good game plan, comes in sharper, uses low kicks, front kicks up the middle, doesn't brawl as much. Being the Hawaiian Warrior, he is, he's going to brawl a little bit in every fight, trading the pocket, but he's sharper, he's more durable. I think he's going to win those exchanges. I see both guys coming in shape, fighting hard. Kamaka, he's obviously going to have to be ready to defend the takedowns, and I feel like his wrestling is going to be sharper than it was against JSP. I also feel like, TJ Brown sometimes can be a little bit willing to strike early, and I don't feel like that's a smart game plan. So if he's willing to do that, Kamaka could, get some early damage in on the leg or hurt him a little bit and make him a little bit, less effective with his grappling. I'm going to go with Kamaka by decision. I think he's going to be able to win the striking exchanges, defend some takedowns, maybe even get on top a little bit himself. If he does get taken down, I think he'll be able to work back up to his feet. And so I got to go with Kai Kamaka to get the win in this one. And keeping it going on the prelims here, we got Gabriel Benitez taking on Jonathan Pearce. And Gabriel Benitez, he's moving back down to featherweight. He had a short 3-fight stint up there at lightweight. Maybe it was 2 fights, not 100% sure. But did get a win in his last fight against Justin James. It was a pretty nice finish. And he's a very slick southpaw. I mean, great striking arsenal. He's going to be, the fighter with the better speed, in my opinion, in this fight, and the much better just overall striking game. Benitez, he has those really good 1-2s. His straight left is pretty money, powerful, really nice inside-outside leg kicks. He really just tries to use that left kick. He throws that left kick to the body, to the head. He was mixing in that left knee in his last fight. Very slick. I mean, he could strike moving backwards, going forward. He's very fast. I think he's going to have a big speed, big power advantage over JSP. His durability is pretty good, I feel like. He's a pretty durable guy. He has gotten hurt in certain fights. He's been finished in some fights, but I do think that, he's tough. He's going to be in there and, be ready to go for 15 minutes. His wrestling could be a little bit better. I mean, he has really, really good get-ups. I mean, he's been training over there at AKA for a long time. And you do see, like, when guys take him down, he gets up very, very quickly. And, you've seen, fighters like Barzola have very limited success holding him down until late in the fight. You've also seen other guys more recently, not have success taking him down at all. And, he's going to be taking on a guy that is going to be wanting to take him down here in Jonathan Pearce. And Pearce, he got the win as a big underdog in his last fight against Kamaka. He is going to be looking to make it 2-1 here in his first 3 fights. He's also a southpaw as well, but he switches his stance, and he's very aggressive. He throws a 1-2. He has a good jab, overhand right. He loves to throw that rear uppercut, and he lets it go more than any other punch, really. And pretty good timing on it. He can't go to the well too much with it, but when he lands heavy. He will go to the body with some nice hooks to disguise the uppercuts, and he has heavy hands, good power hooks, good dirty boxing. On the inside, he'll let his hands go, good elbows, and okay low kicks, front kicks to the body, but doesn't really have the best footwork, head movement, and definitely relies on his chin, wearing opponents down to win fights. And he's, getting a little bit better with his defense. I would say he was a little bit more defensively responsible against Kamaka. He wasn't as wild or willing to engage in firefights, and we're trying to set up his shots a little bit better. In this fight, I expect him to try to work the takedown. His defense on the feet, in my opinion, is just not good enough to strike with someone like Benitez. He gets hit with clean shots, and, when he gets hurt, he likes to close the distance and brawl. I haven't seen him check kicks either. So if he tries to strike with Gabriel, I think he's just going to be in big trouble. He's been finished by strikes just one time, which was on the ground against Joe Lozon. He isn't really a super technical grappler, but he's very strong, very physical. He will work takedowns against the cage. His double legs are pretty good. Big lifts, slams. He has good timing on his doubles in space. He showed that against Kamaka. He's a tall fighter also. He's going to have a significant height advantage in this fight. And, that helps him close the distance, helps him get in the clinch, get double underhooks, and hit body locks. And when he gets on top, he has, really good ground and pound. He likes to posture up, land big elbows, punches, and that's how he's finished most of his fights. On the Contender Series, he wore down his opponent, finished him with ground and pound, did the same thing against Kamaka, and, he's very good at standing up in opponent's guards, throwing the legs aside, and coming down with power shots. He does a good job taking them back, and, he will, flatten you out, work ground and pound from there. I haven't seen a ton of Pearce on his back, but Joe Lozon was able to, rock him on the feet, take him down, mounted him, put him in a reverse half Nelson, and just bash his face in until Herb Dean intervened. It was pretty brutal. Pearce has also been submitted twice earlier in his career. He did show good get-ups when he got taken down against Kamaka. And overall, he's very tough, durable, kill or be killed. He's finished 9 of his 10 wins. He's only 1-1 in decisions. He has great cardio, and he usually drowns fighters and takes them out as the fight goes on. For Mowgli, he's going to need to look to chop the legs of Pearce with the low calf kicks, look for the straight left hand. If Pearce switches to orthodox, then beat up his body with the head kicks, with the body kicks. When he goes for the takedowns, attack that guillotine, work you back up to your feet quickly. I don't really think Pearce has good enough grappling to control Mowgli for 3 rounds. I see Mowgli being the faster guy, like I said. And on the feet, I think he's just going to pick Pearce apart. Pearce is going to want to try to pressure, counter the jab, and then try to back him up, take him down. I just don't really see that happening. I think Benitez has a big chance to get the finish here, actually. Pearce is just so hittable. And got to go with Mowgli Benitez here. Just the sharper, better striker. Keep the range and just control the pace of the fight with his power, with his kicks, and be the cleaner, better fighter here. And up next here we got Luana Pinheiro. She's going to be taking on Randa Markos. And we all kind of know about Randa Markos at this point. She's making her 16th walk to the cage on Saturday night. Definitely a veteran of the sport. She's had a respectable career, but definitely been thrown to the wolves recently. She's lost 3 fights in a row. Definitely fought 3 monsters, and it's going to be no different here. I mean, she's going to be fighting another up-and-coming prospect who's making their debut to the UFC, kind of, getting fed to, or Markos is getting fed to them. But, she's moved to Texas. She's training with Travis Lutter for this fight. And we all kind of know about Markos. I mean, she's a sturdy grappler, pretty durable. Her striking is not very good, but she pressures, has gotten a little bit better with her footwork, with her movement, throws some okay kicks, but really wanting to, throw some big punches to get you to the ground, control on top, good top control, good ground and pound. She's been able to hit some submissions over girls like Angela Hill. I've got that mixed up because they're fighting coming up. But yeah, Angela Hill. In this fight, though, I mean, she's going to be taking on a girl in Luana Pinheiro who blasted through her opponent on Contender Series and looks like she has potential. I mean, she's won 6 fights in a row. 7 of her 8 wins came in the first round. She's a lifelong martial artist. She's a judo girl. You know, she's been training judo since she was 2 years old. I think her family is also judo black belts, and she's won numerous judo titles, championship wins. To me, I mean, judo isn't the best base for MMA, but, you know, I mean, she hasn't really faced great competition either. Even her victory against Stephanie Frost of the Contender Series is not really a great win. She was fighting a girl who had just had 2 fights in 4 years, but Markos, I mean, she's lost 3 fights in a row. Pinheiro, you know, she's a good athlete. Her striking is not great, but super aggressive. She has an improving jab, 1-2. She's very powerful. And in this woman's division, I mean, if you're aggressive, you're willing to throw hands, you're athletic, you're powerful, that's going to bring you a long way. I mean, I think she already has better striking than Randa. In her last fight, she closed this with a big blitz, floored Frosto. She hits hard, so, I mean, her striking has to be respected. But she's very hittable. I mean, she wings big shots. Her chin is right in the air. She can be low volume at times, so definitely can be exploited when she starts getting into these upper-level strikers. But, you know, she's an extremely physical girl. Her judo is top-notch. She has a good head and arm throw. And, you know, in her certain fights, you know, I have seen one of her fights where she got the head and arm throw countered and the girl took her back, and it seemed like she instead kind of just wanted to clinch up and not do a lot up till that point. So I kind of feel like sometimes she can get a little bit weary with her grappling if you can put her in a bad position early. But, I mean, if she can get on top, I mean, she's a back taker. She has good rear naked choke. She has good mounted arm bars. She has really big ground and pound. She does get a little bit tired. You know, she's kind of used to running girls over. But in this fight, man, I mean, I just feel like athleticism-wise, she's going to be the much better athlete. She's going to be the stronger girl. She's going to be the better grappler. She's going to be the more powerful, faster, probably better striker. I don't think Randa has the power to hurt her. I don't think Randa has the jiu-jitsu to really threaten her on the ground with submissions or anything like that. I just feel like Luana is going to be able to go in here and get the job done. So I actually feel like Luana, you know, should be able to go in here and get it done pretty easily. Whether she finishes it or goes to decision, not sure, but got to go with Pinheiro here. With this next fight, we got the return of the machine, Merab Dvalishvilli taking on Cody Stamann in a very good fight, man. I mean, we got 2 guys that are ranked at 135, 2 wrestlers, 2 guys that are usually the guys taking you down, out-grappling you, making you work, you know, grinders. But in this fight, I mean, Cody Stamann is going to be facing the grinder of grinders, man. I don't think he's going to be wanting to try to grapple with Merab. I think he's going to want to try to use his footwork, his movement. I mean, he is the superior athlete. He is going to have definitely the faster feet, you know, the superior footwork, you know, and he's going to try to, you know, throw nice counter punches, maybe try to walk Merab in some big shots, time some kicks, and, you know, we haven't really seen many guys. I know I just said I don't want to see him grapple with Merab. I'm more talking about, you know, I don't want to see him on his back. I do think, you know, maybe he should try to get some takedowns. You know, we haven't really seen a lot of guys shoot on Merab, make him work in that aspect, and that could be, you know, a new wrinkle that Cody Stamann tries to bring, because the thing about Cody Stamann striking is it's more, you know, point fight type of striking. He doesn't really throw. He throws with power, but he doesn't have a lot of raw power. Doesn't really hurt a lot of his opponents. And I feel like Merab is going to be able to come forward, eat the shots. And, you know, if you've watched one of Cody Stamann's fights against a similar opponent, Brian Caraway, you saw where Brian Caraway, who I think is a lesser athlete from Merab, not as fast, not as good of a wrestler. He definitely has much better jiu-jitsu. And, you know, if he gets on top of a guy like Cody, I don't think he's, you know, going to be, or he's going to be more worried if Brian Caraway gets on top of him than a guy like Merab. But, you know, Merab is going to be pushing a higher pace, even though, you know, Caraway pushes a crazy pace as well. But I just feel like Merab is going to be pushing a higher pace. And going to be a little bit more effective on the feet, give Cody a little bit more to think about. You know, he throws those spins, he throws big shots, he's very aggressive. I do feel like Merab is going to be able to land some decent shots off the breaks if he gets his takedowns denied. And I do feel like he's going to be able to hit some takedowns. And Cody, I just feel like if you watch that fight with Brian Caraway, like I said, he kind of got his offense a little bit stymied. Even though he won the fight, he seemed like he didn't let go a ton of volume and was more just trying to move, defend the takedown. If he gets in that type of rhythm against a guy like Merab, I feel like Merab just going to be able to control the pace, keep the volume on him, just outwork him and get the decision win. So, I mean, I do think it's a fairly close fight because Cody is the superior striker. If he can keep it on the feet, technically he's going to have an advantage, but I just think the pit bullness, the aggressiveness, the come forwardness of Merab is going to claim the day. I do think he's going to hit a couple takedowns. Don't know if he's going to have much success with the top control, but, I feel like he's just going to outwork Cody to a decision win like he usually does and get it done. So I'm going with the machine, Merab Dvalishvilli. And up next year we got a pretty interesting fight with Sean Strickland taking out Krzystof Jotko. And Sean Strickland, man, I mean, he's kind of had a resurgence here. He's looked good since returning from that motorcycle accident. He's won 2 fights in a row, took out Brendan Allen in pretty violent fashion. So he's actually gotten 2 knockouts in his last 3 fights, even though the one against Nordine Taleb was quite a long time ago. And he's going to be taking on a guy in Krzystof Jotko, who has a kind of interesting UFC career where had a 5-fight win streak, started his UFC career 6-1, I believe. Then he lost 3 in a row, but now he's won 3 in a row again. So kind of has came back on the other side of that, is looking to, win this 4th one in a row, get back in the rankings, get back to that spot that he was before he fought David Branch. But Sean Strickland, he's looking to get this win and then move on to more high-profile fights. So this is a pivotal fight for both fighters here. Sean Strickland did break into the rankings at 15 after that win over Brendan Allen, so he is a ranked fighter. And, when you look at the fight, I feel like obviously the boxing is going to really favor Sean Strickland. I think he has some of the best pure boxing in the division at 185 pounds. That's really, his main game. I mean, he works some kicks, some leg kicks, some front kicks up the middle, round kicks. I've even seen him throw some high kicks, but really just works the jab, the 1-2, the 1-1-2s, real sharp boxing. Throw tight hooks on the inside or rip the body. He does a good job putting combinations together when he gets you against the cage. When he gets you hurt, he really will, push the pace, try to get the finish. And, he also has real good grappling. I mean, good anti-grappling. He's very hard to take down, hold down. He doesn't really shoot takedowns or look for wrestling offensively. But if he does get on top, he has a good submission game, good top game. He is good on his back. He is able to work back up to his feet. He's not a fish out of water if you can take him down. So he's a well-rounded guy. He has good cardio as well. One thing, I'll say is he can be a little bit low volume. And sometimes he could stand a little bit tall. So, it could kind of limit his movement. He can be a little bit stiff a little bit. And Jotko's going to be trying to exploit that by, moving around, throwing low kicks, throwing front kicks up the middle, feinting, trying to land that left cross. He is southpaw. Maybe trying to time a couple takedowns, even though I don't really see him being effective at the wrestling. And just really mainly just trying to use his movement to, force Strickland to try to close that gap and reset, after he touches him with the kicks or, touches him with the left cross and moves out of the way. Not let Strickland get in the pocket, get his boxing going, get his 1-1-2s going, get his jab, close that gap, get you against the cage, work the combinations. Because Jotko, pure boxing, I feel like his boxing is pretty bad. He has that nice left cross, but very open, very hittable, kind of pulls back with his chin in the air. He, doesn't seem like he's very comfortable in exchanges. And I don't think he has as good of a chin as Strickland. I think Strickland is the more durable, tougher fighter. Pure jiu-jitsu-wise, I'm not really sure, but I just don't see Jotko being able to hit takedowns. So I do think it's going to play out majority on the feet. And it's just going to come down to if Strickland can effectively close that gap and, use his striking to be able to, or use his boxing to hurt Jotko with some nice shots. And, because he's going to be the aggressor going forward. I think that's going to help on the judges' scorecards as well. But, he's just going to have to stop Jotko from finessing him, getting ahead on the numbers with small kicks or small punches and kind of just winning a boring decision. He's going to have to, make it more his type of fight, close the gap a little bit, more boxing oriented. And I think he's going to be able to do it. So I'm going to go with Sean Strickland. I think he's going to be able to just, like I said, make it more boxing-oriented fight, land some big shots, big jabs, big 1-2s. We've seen Brad Tavares really, do a good job of, using his boxing and his straight shots to hurt Jotko. And we have seen Jotko taken out more than once. So I think Strickland could even knock him out. And got to go with Sean Strickland. And in this next fight, we got a light heavyweight fight with Dustin Jacoby taking on Iwan Cutelaba. And Iwan Cutelaba, he finally ended his saga with Magomed and Kalaev, and it didn't really go well for him. He got knocked out first round, and, he's lost 3 fights in a row. He's 27 years old, so he still has room for improvement, or 3 of his last 4, but 27 years old, so he definitely should be still getting better, still room for improvement, and, he's a good athlete, very dynamic in that first round. He bounces around on the outside. He's very fleet of foot and switches stances. He gives different looks. He'll work his way in with some nice straight punch flurries. He throws these long casting hooks and nice short left hook. He'll open up super wild in the pocket. And Ankalaev was able to exploit that sloppiness, slept him pretty bad. But he has some nice front kicks up the middle to the body. Cutelaba throws some nice Superman punches, spinning back fist. He'll mix in some jump knees. So definitely has a wide arsenal of attacks. And, especially is dangerous when he's fresh. He's finished 13 of his 15 wins in the first round. And, he doesn't really check leg kicks. He's, kind of more willing to counter the leg kicks with the overhands. And he does have a fantastic chin. I mean, you see the way he takes bombs from these guys like Jared Cannonier, Glover Teixeira. You have to be impressed. But, he did get his chin cracked in his last fight in a pretty brutal way. He's a former Greco-Roman wrestler. I don't really like his style of wrestling for MMA, but when he does get the fight to the ground, he's very dangerous with ground and pound. He likes to use a lot of body lock throws, and, I don't really like that. But I will say, against Khalil Roundtree, he did a better job. He used the double leg, and that's what I want to see him use more in more of his fights instead of brawling. Was able to time a beautiful double leg against Khalil Roundtree. Roundtree, was not doing him, or he was doing him a lot of favors, though. I mean, he wasn't defending any of the takedowns, throwing wild punches. He was being very wild, overextending, allowing the double very easily, exposing his hips. But on top, Cutelaba is mean, man. He has dangerous short elbows, hammer fist, smashes through guys on the ground when they aren't ready for it, like Roundtree, like Antigulov. But, if you have good ground and pound, you can, or good jiu-jitsu, you can kind of nullify his ground and pound. Jared Cannonier did that. I don't think he has the best top control just because he's a little bit wild trying to throw, all of his shots. But, Glover Teixeira and other guys have proven, if you could put Cutelaba on his back, he's not very good. He'll really give up dominant positions pretty quickly. He taps out pretty quickly. I don't think he's one of these guys that deals with adversity very well. And he's going to be taking on Dustin Jacoby, who, Jacoby's a kickboxer. He has taken this fight on short notice. He's replacing Devin Clark. And, he has had some cardio issues in the past, so that's something that you might have to look into. But I do think he actually has the better cardio in this fight. He's been undefeated since 2016. If you count his kickboxing and boxing matches, he's won 7 fights in a row. So, if he can beat Cutelaba, he's probably going to be in line for a ranked opponent. Obviously, with every fight, of Cutelaba, Dustin Jacoby has to be very careful in that first round. He has the range advantage, the footwork advantage, good head movement. In the small cage, he's used to being in there, because he's done it the last 2 fights. But he does get backed up to the fence. And against Cutelaba, he needs to keep that defense very tight when they're in close. He did get dropped throwing a naked kick against Maxine Grisham. And Jacoby, obviously he's going to be the much better striker, though. I mean, the low calf kick is going to be something I think he's going to be looking for. Good jabs, good straight shots, 1-2s. Trying not to get backed up too much, not engage in a firefight. Jacoby, he does a good job keeping the range, being technical. He's not going to get wild like Khalil Roundtree, in my opinion. He doesn't really throw a lot of head kicks or body kicks. He's, more just the 1-2 low kicks. That's really what he likes to do. And he has good head movement. He's athletic. He has good footwork as well, so he's hard to hit. I don't think he's going to be able to really hurt Cutelaba early on, but I think as Cutelaba gets a little tired, more sloppy, he's going to be able to find his openings and kind of touch him. He keeps it all smooth. He's very efficient. I think as the fight goes on, he's going to pull away a little bit. He just needs to avoid getting finished in that first round. Like I said, Cutelaba doesn't check kicks, which is a big issue here. He also just got brutally knocked out. So, relying on his chin for his entire career, just getting knocked out, that's not a good sign. I think Jacoby will be able to get it done here. He, in my opinion, is just going to be a little bit more active, be a little bit better on the feet. I do think that, personally, Grisham punches harder than Iwan. He missed weight. He's gigantic light heavyweight. I also think Grisham's a little bit better grappler. Iwan's a smaller guy for the division. If you look at Iwan's finishes, they aren't against very good competition. Almost all his wins pre-UFC have came against 0-0 fighters. He's beating guys like Godzilla Merab, Antigulov, Luis Henrique, Khalil Roundtree in the UFC. All guys that get finished frequently. Dustin Jacoby has never been KO'd in MMA. He did get TKO'd on the ground against an elite grappler in Molo Law. That was a long time ago. But in this fight, I just see him, using the calf kick, the jab, pacing himself well so he can cook Iwan down the stretch and just doing enough to get the victory here. So I got to go Dustin Jacoby. And up next here in the co-main event, we have a great fight. Anytime Swanson gets in the cage, it's going to be all action. And, so far, so good for Giga Chikadze. He's ran his record in the UFC to 5-0. Still a lot of questions. His competition level hasn't been the best. 2 of the 5 fighters he's defeated are no longer in the UFC. And I doubt his most recent opponent, Jamie Simmons, will last in the UFC very long either. And he's going to be across a guy that's going to be making their 20th walk to the Octagon on Saturday night. Swanson, he's picked up back-to-back upset wins. He's proved he's not quite done yet to a lot of his doubters. He's moved his camp to the training lab his last couple fights, and the results have showed, he's been training with top-notch guys like Juan Archuleta, TJ Dillashaw, Brian Ortega, and Swanson, like I said, he's going to be making his 20th walk to the Octagon, so his experience is invaluable. And man, just look at some of these guys he's lost to. He lost to Shannon Cougar, okay, in his first fight, but avenged that loss, all right? So you can almost kind of wipe that one away. And then he lost to Jens Pulver, a former UFC champion. Jose Aldo, a former UFC champion. Chad Mendes, a 3-time UFC title challenger. Ricardo Lamas, a UFC title challenger. Frankie Edgar, a former UFC champion. Max Holloway, a former UFC champion. Brian Ortega, 2-time UFC title challenger. Renato Moicano, former top 5 ranked guy. Shane Burgos, it was a split decision against a top 10 ranked UFC fighter. So, all his losses have been against the top of the top, the cream of the crop. And he's been able to get some high-level wins as well. So, Swanson, he's definitely a legend in the sport. Been putting it down for a long time. And this is going to be a great fight. Swanson, he's going to be the better boxer. Obviously, Giga is a very, very good kickboxer. He's going to have a big height advantage. He's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. He keeps the range very well. He throws kicks to all parts of the body. Very fluid kicker. In this fight, I think he's going to try to maybe attack the body kicks and attack the low kicks. We did see, Swanson get his leg kind of beat up in his last fight against Daniel Pinheiro with those calf kicks. So Giga does have something to look at there. Also, I do feel like maybe attack the body with body kicks because we have seen Max Holloway hurt Swanson to the body that way. At range where Giga Chikadze can, use his kicks, pick Cub apart, he's going to have a big advantage there. I think he's going to have a speed advantage as well. But in terms of the boxing, I feel like Giga's kind of wild with his hands a little bit. He can kind of wing shots. He doesn't really have good defensive boxing either. He pulls back sometimes with his chin in the air. And he doesn't really check low kicks either himself. So both these guys, I think, could be trying to attack the calf. Giga also slows down in hard fights, especially where he's forced to grapple. You saw that against Austin Springer. He got finished in the 3rd round. Brandon Davis got tired. Jamal Emmers, he got tired. And his takedown defense, to me, is horrible, man. He doesn't dig underhooks at all. He doesn't look to defend the takedowns really much at all. I feel like if you level change on this guy, get in on his hips, you're going to take him down. His get-ups look pretty terrible. He's hit a couple of sweeps against these guys like Emmers and Brandon Davis, but I feel like it's more because they got way too comfortable on top. Giga, though, he does have a good jab and straight shots at times. I think that he's going to try to use the jab, use the low kicks, and really just try to keep him Cub on the outside. Cub, he's more of a dynamic striker, kind of real good movement, bounces out on the outside, then tries to come on the inside with real nice check hooks, big overhands, wild looping type of shots, weird angled shots, and very explosive. I do think he has the power advantage in his hands. He also has some real nice kicks as well. And he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, man, and I feel like he's not a dummy. I mean, he's not a guy that grapples in a lot of fights, and, I don't know if he's going to grapple here, but I think it's going to be a smart thing if he does, man. I really feel like that should be the game plan, at least early on. Try to, shoot that double leg. He's good at shooting the double circle into the back. Giga gives his back. I think he could jump on the back, hit that rear naked choke even. I also feel like if he grapples early on in the fight, he's going to slow Giga down and have more effectiveness with the striking. And I do think that if he can grapple early, that third round, Cub could turn it up and really beat him up on the feet as well. So it's going to be a fun fight. I think that, both guys have a chance to win. If Giga can hurt Cub's calf early, maybe, slow him down with those body kicks, use the jab, and keep him at range, then he's going to be able to have a good night. But, if he allows Cub to maybe get an early takedown or make that first round competitive, then I think it's going to start to go downhill for him. I think Cub's going to start to land some big shots on the feet, be with the better boxer, hit some takedowns, and just be the guy that is a little bit, better. I mean, he has way more experience. I think he's going to prove to people once again why he's been here for a long time, why he's been putting it down forever, and, why he shouldn't be the underdog against these guys with, less than 15 fights, or guys like Daniel Pinheiro who had most of their career outside the UFC. So I'm going to go with Cub Swanson to pick up yet another upset victory here, move it to 3 in a row. But I do think Giga has more chances to win. I'm not as confident in Cub as I was when I picked him against Daniel Pineda or when I picked him against Kron Gracie. But I am going to pick Cub to get the job done here. And then finally we got the main event here. We got Dominick Reyes taking on Jiri Prochazka. And, awesome main event, man. I mean, two very high-quality guys. Obviously, Dominick Reyes' last two fights were UFC title fights, so championship material guy taking on someone in Jiri Prochazka who is a risen champion who came into the UFC, and he captured the minds of all UFC fans with his amazing debut against Volkan Ozdemir, man. I mean, fought like a total wild man, took an obscene amount of punishment, and took out Volkan in the second round. And with that win, I mean, getting a main event spot here, his second fight against a fighter who I just said his last two fights were the title. So he's getting a big opportunity here. 27-3-1. So he has almost triple the fights of Reyes, even though he only has one UFC fight. So he should be ready for the moment. And, Reyes, he's coming off 2 losses in a row after winning his first 17 MMA fights, amateur and pro. His fight with John Jones, obviously many people felt he won that fight. It was a little bit controversial, but his last fight, there was zero controversy. He got put down by Jan Blachowicz in a violent way. And we're going to need to really see what Reyes is made of in this matchup. 2 losses in a row, back up against the wall. After everyone thinking he beat John Jones, who's going to steamroll Jan Blachowicz. He's the underdog Jiri here. So it's put up or shut up time for Reyes. And, Reyes, he's obviously going to be looking to counter with that counter too, with the counter uppercut. Jiri likes to advance with his hands down. Reyes should look to attack the body with the left hooks, the left straights. She should look to attack Jiri when he goes to southpaw because I don't really think Jiri has great defense from that stance. Reyes should also chop the inside legs, try to slow the movement of Jiri because I think Jiri's going to be the quicker fighter. Jiri doesn't check kicks, so that's going to be something that, is going to slow him down. You should look to mix it up, maybe even try to grapple because I do think he's the better grappler in this fight. For Jiri, try to draw out the counters of Reyes, feint, try to counter the counters with combinations. Try to start and end combinations with body kicks. We saw Jan Blachowicz have a lot of success with that. The front kicks up the middle, he should try to use those as well. Stylistically, though, I do feel like that last fight against Volkan Ozdemir was a better matchup for Jiri because he's one of these guys that, hands down, he likes to try to kind of bait you into war, and he has crazy movement, man. Wild stance switching, very unorthodox attacks. We saw in his last fight, he's like touching his hand and then throwing that straight right down the middle and doing some very odd things, weird mannerisms. Definitely more of a puncher. He doesn't really use a lot of kicks, which he might bring him out for this fight, though, because like I said, Reyes had a lot of issues with the kicks against Jan Blachowicz. But the reason why I think it was a better matchup is because Reyes is one of these guys at 205 that he can fight off the back foot, and he's very good at it. He has the counter, too. He has the counter uppercut. Sometimes against Blachowicz, he was kind of just covering up when he was backing up against blitzes. And that's where Jiri could potentially capitalize, maybe, go to the body with a couple shots, get Dominick to drop his hands, then go up top, throw combinations. He needs to throw more than one in this fight, get Dominick on the back foot. But that's going to be more dangerous than when he fought Volkan, because I don't think Volkan is as good of a counterpuncher. He isn't as quick. I don't think that he really has that kind of snappy style like Dominick Reyes. And I think the kicks of Reyes, the body kicks, the head kicks, the low kicks are going to be effective. I think he's going to be able to walk Jiri onto big shots. But, man, if Jiri gets his range and starts moving around, he's probably the best athlete in that division, in my opinion. Extremely good athlete, super fast, super dynamic. So he's going to have an opportunity to come out here and take Dominick Reyes out. But, man, Reyes is fighting for his career here, in my opinion. 2 losses in a row. If he loses 3 in a row, loses the fight to Jiri Prochazka, that's a tough loss. He's probably going to be outside the top 10 even. Don't really know where he would go from there. So I'm going to give him one more chance. I did pick Jan Blachowicz to beat him. I've been doing pretty well with these Reyes fights, and I just feel like he's going to be able to, attack with the body kicks, with the leg kicks on the front foot, maybe kind of get Jiri a little bit hurt with some low kicks, and I do feel like on the back foot he's going to be able to counter with that counter too, with the uppercut, make Jiri pay for closing that gap, and just be a little bit better fighter. I think he's going to be able to do his thing and get the finish. So I think he's going to maybe be able to get a knockout with the uppercut, with the cross. But ultimately, I don't really have a great read on this fight, because Jiri to me is kind of a wild man. He's kind of a hard guy to read, and he can go in there and spoil the party in any fight. So wouldn't be extremely confident in Reyes, but I am going to pick him here as a official pick. And, guys, my bad. I actually forgot this fight right here. Going to be real quick on it because, obviously, I don't know if you guys want to listen after you just heard the main event breakdown. But Poliana Botelho gets Luana Pino. Low-level fight. I feel like with this fight, Poliana is going to be better everywhere, in my opinion. Luana, she's a good range striker. She has good kicks. She'll throw some okay straight punches. But I think Botelho has the power advantage. I think that she's going to be able to close that gap and be effective with her punching more than Luana is with her kicks. And I actually feel like in this fight, you saw her in the last fight get out-grappled by Jillian Robertson, but you've seen her in other fights use the clinch effectively, hit takedowns, get on top against girls like Lauren Mueller. And I feel like she can easily get takedowns on Carolina, control against a cage, get on top and win that way. So pick for me is going to be Botelho, and I think she's going to win with the grappling heavy game plan here. But, yeah, guys, so there you have it. That's the full card breakdown for UFC Fight Night Reyes versus Prochazka, UFC Vegas 26. And hope you guys enjoyed that. Just like I said in the beginning of the video, going to bring it up again right here. Had the goal here for 250 likes. So let's try to smash that like button. Tell me in the comments that you, like the video, so I know everyone that's, showing me the support for sure. And, yeah, man, very appreciative about that. And like I said in the beginning of the video as well, I do have a full card breakdown predictions and a betting video for PFL coming up for LFA. Going to have some bets for both those cards, so be on the lookout for that as well. And for the parlay of the week for this card, I'm going to go with Luana Pinheiro and Merab Dvalishvilli. My most confident pick of the week is going to be Strickland. And also Pinheiro as well. I'm pretty confident in her to get the victory. And for the upset of the week, it's going to be Dustin, Jacoby, and Swanson. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you guys later.